Today, we're on Optimize Profitability. I'm excited to be here with Alexis and Justin Black. They have 3 different businesses. Both of them come out of the foster care system, but both of them are entrepreneurs. How cool is that? But they're service-oriented, and they realized that their skills they were given were gifts to give other people. And I love that concept. That's really awesome. I think Alexis said that. They just came out with a new book called Redefining Normal, where they share their story of what it took for them to go from being in the foster care system all the way through into entrepreneurship and successful people they are today. So guys, tell me about your journey. What did it take for you to get where you are today as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, it took definitely a lot, especially overcoming the foster care system. And I think one of the biggest things that we've learned through our experiences in care and traveling home to home is just really how to be flexible, and how to adjust to different situations. And that's really a huge thing that we've learned. So for me personally, I'm from Detroit, and I grew up in Detroit pretty much my whole life until about the age of 17 or 18 when I moved to a new foster home, and where I lived for about 2 years and transitioned into college at Western Michigan University, which is on the other side of the state, near Chicago, about a 2.5-hour drive from Chicago, Kalamazoo, Michigan. And, even though it's only like 2.5 hours from Detroit, Kalamazoo, it was such a big change for me because it was something I was not used to. I've lived in Detroit my whole life, and it was just really adapting and adjusting. And that idea of adapting, adjusting, and being flexible is really what a lot of entrepreneurship is about. You can't have the same model and do the same things and expect life or your audience or your target market to adjust to you. You have to adjust to the people and adjust to the times, because there's so many things that'll always change. And I feel like the measure entrepreneurs are measured by how well they're able to adjust. And since life is always changing, like technology wasn't as big as it is 10 to 15 years ago. So you have to always be able to adjust. And I think through our lives and our experiences, just that ability to be able to adapt and adjust. And even we'll talk maybe about while in college, we both studied abroad in about 13 programs combined, over 30 countries. And that ability to learn about other cultures and just learn about their experiences and what they've done, and just being able to adapt to different audiences is very important.
Awesome. I love that. What about you, Alexis?
Yeah. And so for me, what I was going to say was, he kind of took part of what I was saying, but I think actually us growing up in foster care, we're the ideal individuals to be entrepreneurs, because we are taught to be resilient and flexible and adaptable. And what is the other word I always say? Flexible. Yeah. And so we're taught in that way through survival mode to always kind of employ those skills. And so I see those in my everyday life with companies and kind of pushing myself to the limit. I thrive off of kind of being overwhelmed and stressed out at all times, apparently, because that's how I live my life with businesses. And for me, I started getting involved in entrepreneurialism when I was, I think I was a college junior. I went to the University of Michigan Flint first, because I'm from Flint. And then I transferred to my university, Western Michigan University. And I joined the honors college, and there was this course that was really cool. It's called Study in the States, where you can travel around to different states studying different thing or one topic. And it's kind of like a study abroad in the US. And so we studied startup communities. And that to me was just like a light bulb moment of, I can start a company and it be something that I create for myself, so nobody else can take away from me, that it's my own baby, and I can make an impact with it. I think that was the biggest thing for me, is because when I thought about making an impact, the only way that I saw that as being possible was through nonprofit. And that's why I actually have a certification in nonprofit leadership, because that's what I thought the only outlet was. And so I got that first, and then I discovered entrepreneurship. And so it was really through that class, and my mentor, and who was my professor at the time, he was really pushing me and challenging me to ask questions and to get outside the box and get outside of my head a lot of times. And because I'm very hard-headed, and when I'm determined, I go for it, and I don't take no for an answer. That's just kind of how I've always lived my life and gotten me to where I am today. And so he was the one who challenged me to study abroad and to take advantage of different opportunities. And I would say that even the opportunity to go abroad and learn other cultures, as he mentioned, and listening to other people and learning the importance of active listening, especially when being an entrepreneur, of what do people need and what do you need from me? Because the idea of build it and they will come, that doesn't work. And what's interesting is we actually use that skill when we developed a study abroad program within our university. And it was the first program of its kind. And even the study abroad office was just so stunned by the way that we decided to do it, which to me, it makes complete sense as being an entrepreneur, that Justin did a study abroad night where we asked students, what do you want out of a study abroad program? Where would you like to go? How would you like it formatted? And we created an entire program based on those parameters. But every single other study abroad that has ever been created at our university has been a professor has a skill set and wants to go to a certain country, and they develop a program around that. And it's like, that's backwards to me of how you should create it. And you wonder why some programs have difficulty with enrollment. And we had over 50 applications or something crazy, like when we developed it that way. And so just through simple things like that, by creating a study abroad program and then using that skill set into creating our business. And also I want to mention the importance of whatever you say and what comes out of your mouth has power. And also who you surround yourself with has just as much merit. And I say that because my pastor actually planted the seed of being a business owner and also being an author. She's one of my closest mentors. And she sat down with me one day and she said, Alexis, I need you to start a business and I want it to be called the Scholarship Expert. Well, here we are. And we're a couple years later. And that night, went home, bought the domain, started creating the website. Website was trash because it was my first website. But, I learned the skills and I developed. And it was her planting that seed of doing that. And I went on hiatus for a little bit, but then we relaunched it again in December. And it's just kind of skyrocketed since then. We're potentially going through a merger now and a lot of other things. So every day is a learning curve for sure. I feel like I watch 15 YouTube videos a day to teach myself everything, but you figure it out. You don't have somebody that you can go and ask, and you can go and say, hey, how do I do this? What do I do? You figure it out yourself. Yeah. But I love that because that fits into our resiliency and our flexibility.
Yeah, and with the internet also, a lot of times there was like a information shortage because without the internet, people didn't have access to know how to do certain things or have certain abilities. But really, it's amazing. It's like almost a perfect time to be an entrepreneur because YouTube can almost teach you really anything, and you learn so many skills on YouTube, and it's like a big information bubble where you can just almost search any and everything you want and everything you need. And I see her on YouTube learning something new every single day on how to function, how to work a certain website, how to send mass emails, and there's so many different things. And I've started to utilize YouTube as well on how to do certain skills and how to write certain like a product email. How should that look? And Google that and certain images, and just it's so much on the internet, so much information, and really just trying to improve your business, improve your skill set and knowledge so you can serve people better.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and I wanted to add that. Oh darn, I had it and then it went away. What happened? You can go. Oh, sorry, you can go.
You literally went away there for a minute.
Oh, I went away. No, it's a virtual background.
I know, it's funny.
You can go.
I know.
Well, let me ask you guys right quick. Because you're coming from the foster care, I'm sure you had some mental things that you had to overcome. Because most people, they go from, to a college into a nice, safe job. And you guys took the exact opposite track. So what was that mental shift that happened in your brain that got you there?
I remember what I was going to say now. So I started college as an accounting major because to me, that was the safest degree I could possibly get. Everybody needs an accountant. I'm good at numbers and I figured I could be an accountant. But I did 2 internships and realized I hated it. And then meeting other people and networking, I learned that that's a skill set that I have, but that's not in the realm that I should be. And whenever you take like personality assessments and things for school, entrepreneurship is never on there because it doesn't fit into a set career path. Mm-hmm. And so I had to figure that out for myself after adding and dropping 10 different majors and minors. It was really crazy. And the year that I started my entrepreneurship degree was the year that it started at my university. And another huge mindset shift that I had to do, and what I was trying to remember was I had to learn that I'm not meant to be independent. I'm meant to be interdependent and depend on other people, because if I want to be successful in any aspect of my life, I have to learn to rely on people. And I think that for us and for individuals that come from the foster care system, when you're in survival mode all the time and you're always worried about being disappointed and let down and you know, all the negativity that can come with depending on the wrong people, that you miss out on all the people, or even more people, that could be in your corner, that could love you and support you and be there for you and to help take you to that next level. But if you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable and open to that, then you're always limiting yourself. And so I always tell people, if you want to be broke, bitter, and unsuccessful, then stay in that mindset, because that's something that you really have to outgrow in order to be successful. And I learned that when I met my parents, who are now my adoptive parents. When I moved into their house, they really showed me that through their everyday life and their commitment, their commitment to God and their faith, and just watching that, because I learn from people's observations. So whenever I find a mentor or anybody, I always observe them first to make sure that who you are in your daily life through your behaviors is who that I want to learn from and seek their skills in how you are. And so I even do that, like even in counseling. When I go to counseling, I'm observing the first couple sessions of, are you somebody that has integrity in the character that I can ask you for advice and your opinion over my life? Because I have to take everything with a grain of salt, no matter who it's coming from, and making sure that it fits my values and my core mindset. And that goes in every single aspect of my life.
Yeah, and when we talk about overcoming some of the habits and things we develop in foster care, you know, I come from Detroit, and I grew up in like a very impoverished, very poor neighborhood, or at least the poorest in the neighborhood, you know, me and my family, and a lot of abuse and drug addiction and a lot of other things. And one of the things that I always said as a teenager, or even coming into college, was I just want a comfortable job. I just want to be comfortable. I just want to get something stable, something good, because I grew up in poverty. So anything, you know, that I got food on the table, I have a bed to sleep in, you know, don't get me wrong. Like, those things are good, and I want to be humble, and I want to appreciate the clothes on my back and food that I eat and the things that I've never had before. But as a young adult and as a teenager, I always told myself, I just want to be comfortable. I just want to live a comfortable life, and I just want to be good. And that's one of the biggest things that I really had to overcome, especially in my spiritual journey with God, is because there's when you pursue entrepreneurship, when you are a believer in God and you're a Christian, that life and all those things is nothing comfortable about all those things. You have to get used to being uncomfortable and not looking for the easy way out, looking for an easy 9-to-5, looking for an easy job. That's not what entrepreneurship is about. That's not what God is about, just being comfortable. And I really had to challenge myself, and that poverty mindset in me of just being comfortable and getting a quick 9-to-5 job and just trying to get quick money and make it easy. I had to overcome that and understand that so much growth comes from being uncomfortable. And I learned so many things just from being uncomfortable and going through so many trials and tribulations. It really tested me, and I really had to overcome that mindset of just the easy way out. And I think that's probably like the biggest thing I had to overcome of the foster care system. But it's a challenge every day. I have to make the decision every single day not to take the easy way out. And I look at my to-do list like, I think I should just push it off another day. You know, that's so hard. It's going to require so much work. I should push it off another day. But I really have to challenge myself. Like, no, just do it. You know, just get that hard task done that needs to get done. Look up these YouTube videos so I can learn this skill and take that time that I don't feel like taking to learn this. And it's a struggle every single day, but we have to be intentional about making that decision.
He's too humble, but when he started college, it was one major, no minor, no clubs, nothing. And then by the time he graduated, president of study abroad, 2 majors, created a study abroad program, went on 5 study abroad programs. Like, he just did so much, and less than 3% of foster youth graduate from college. And we have both graduated within the last year and a half. And he's too humble to say that. Yeah. But
well, he had you to help him too, right?
Yeah, you know, we compliment each other.
Teamwork helps.
But I also tell people that if your dreams don't scare you, then they're not big enough. And I can't remember what book I read it from. I think it was called The Circle Maker. It's from a pastor out of DC. And I just always love that saying, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And I always think of myself, whenever we create our goals list for the year, we do this every January. We create our goals list, and then we break it down by month. And then in June, we reassess and we see, what do we need to do? How do we need to do better? And when we create that goals list, I look at it, I'm like, holy crap, this scares the crap out of me. Because it's so much. Like, there's no way we could do half of this. And sure enough, we end up accomplishing more than half of it every year. But if we put our sights lower and just do half of those things, or put half those things on the list, then we will accomplish half of those. So it's just always pushing ourselves further. And that translates into our daily life. When we create our to-do list, I always put way more than I could ever accomplish in a day on my to-do list, because I know that if I don't, I'm not going to push myself and I won't go as far as I want to go. And also with an entrepreneur, what's difficult is that you set your own schedule, you set your own to-do list, and that's difficult. Some people really need structure and they need to know what they're going to do every single day, and they live by their job descriptions and the tasks that their employer gives them. And I think that was one of the hugest things for me, is to figure out, because I've always worked a job, or at least 1 to 2 jobs. And when you start a business and I don't have that structure, the first 6 months I struggled. I really, really struggled. Now I have a concrete schedule and what I'm doing every day, and we've been working almost 100 hours a week since March. And we took time off for the wedding last month, but that's about it. And I mean, we kind of set our schedule and priorities and everything ourselves. And so that's also really been helpful in our marriage, of understanding really, how do you define priority, and what is that, and what does that look like in every single day within our marriage, within our business, within my personal life, with family, whatever it may be, and setting those every single day. So I really love that aspect that I've learned is creating priorities. Still working on the balance part. Yeah. Still working on getting more time together, because I do count, because you can't see in our room right now, but it's literally our bed and our desk next to the bed. And so wake up, go right to work, and we sit next to each other all day. And so I kind of count that as time together when that's not time together. Yeah. And so I'm working on prioritizing that, but getting there.
So what's something you're doing right now in your business that's helping you succeed even more? What's a little tip you can give somebody that's listening in, that's an entrepreneur? Maybe they've come through that struggle and they're having trouble with that flexibility aspect or that balance aspect. What's something you would tell them?
I would always just tell people to find mentors. That's the biggest advice that I give every single person, is find a mentor in whatever you want to learn, whatever career path you have, whatever skill you want to overcome, or whatever it may be. Find somebody and have them hold you accountable, and ask them what they're doing, because having accountability partners has been one of the greatest things for me. And I just tell any and everybody, what are my dreams, what are my goals, because I want to see how God aligns other people in my life. I had my pastor tell me that a couple years ago, and that has worked tenfold. And also just the accountability part of them reaching out to me and saying, hey, where are you with this? How is that looking? And if I drop the ball, just being honest and saying, hey, I need to do better. Or hey, I've taken your advice and I've done this, this, and this with it. And just kind of seeing how other people pouring into us has really just helped us be where we are today. But mentorship is just one of the greatest things that I could ever just encourage people to do. And that's not just with entrepreneurship, that's in every aspect of your life. You're going to have mentors in every season of your life, no matter what it is. We have personal and professional mentors. I have individuals that I can go to and seek guidance and accountability for with my personal crap that I have to deal with, not just in a professional sense, but then I also have mentors in an academic sense and then in the professional world. So you're going to have different people in different seasons of your life, and it's okay to have more than one mentor. Some people are stuck on just having one at all times, but really have as many as you can that you can keep up with and that are willing to hold you accountable to all your goals and dreams.
I would say intentionality is big. One thing that Alexis has really helped me with is creating like an actual daily schedule. She talked about that a little bit, but just breaking down each hour of the day. And, she's like the alarm queen. Like any given second, she'll have an alarm go off and
I'm glad we don't have any now.
You do this at this time, do this at that time. And I really adopted that from her. And it holds me accountable. Like, okay, I need to work on this assignment for maybe like an hour and a half, and I need to get this done at a certain period of time. And even when it comes to things that help with my mental health, like working out is really huge for my mental health and really stabilizing my life. And I give myself like, I think 6 p.m. to like 7 p.m. to work out, like 45 minutes to an hour to work out. And when it comes to personal time and just taking care of myself, just really being intentional about that, being intentional about working on different assignments, working on business, laying out my day and being organized. And I've learned that all from her. And I think it was my freshman or sophomore year. We talk about this story in the book, and how, I came to her crying because I failed an exam my sophomore year. I think it was actually my freshman year.
Yeah.
It was my freshman year. You know how freshmen, we all come in, overwhelmed and everything. And I was unorganized. I didn't know how to organize at all. And I came to her apartment crying because I failed an exam. And I was ready to go back home to Detroit. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I'm ready to give up.
He's like, I'm dropping out.
Yeah, I'm dropping out. And that day she sat down with me. She bought me a planner. We organized my life. And just like down to the day-to-day things. And right now, I think, again, just being organized is a challenge each and every day, each and every week. And just starting on like, okay, Sunday, I'll rest. And then Sunday, maybe around 4 or 5 after, I'm done watching the Lions lose again. But so Sunday, I sit down, relax, and organize my week. And then Monday, I already know what needs to get done. I set all my alarms, and then I'm just rolling. So I think just being intentional and being organized, even on personal time, is so key for entrepreneur. When you talk about giving to other people, you can't give to other people if you can't give to yourself. So just take time for yourself and do what helps you mentally, make time for spiritual growth, and just really organize your time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to continue a conversation with you guys. One thing I'd like for y'all to share in our bonus section, we'll talk about that in a minute, is I'd like you to talk about what it takes to get a mentor. Give us some steps on that. But then we're going to have a discussion just as a whole of what it means to understand your identity and bring that identity into your entrepreneurship and your marriage. They talked a little bit about it before we got started. I thought that was some really cool stuff. And hopefully this will wet your whistle to kind of get into their book and buy their book and find out more about them. So tell them right quick before we get off here, how can they get in touch with you guys?
So you can get in touch with us through email at info@re-definingnormal.com, or just go to re-definingnormal.com. That's where you can pre-order, call us, email us, whatever it may be. That's the best way to get in contact with us, and also to pre-order our book if you're interested.
Yeah. Sweet. And we're going to have links on our bonus page. Go to optimizeprofitability.com. I'm not sure what episode this will be, but you'll figure it out when you get to the page. All right. Thanks for being on today, guys. We'll see you at the bonus section.
Thank you.